You're 40, standing in your kitchen doing math. There's no moment, no breakdown, no epiphany where it all suddenly makes sense. Just you at the sink, running the numbers on 20 years of next year. And the strange thing is, you can't find the year it happened because it didn't happen in a year. It happened in words, said quietly in your own voice every December. You were 20 when it started. You're 20. Your dad helps you move into your first apartment, carries the heavy end of the bed up all 3 flights without being asked, the way he always has, and stands in the doorway after with his hands on his hips looking at the place and says something dry about the radiator, and you laugh. He's just there, a fixed point. You don't call him much because you feel like there's nothing to call about, and because he'll always be exactly one phone call away. You'll be a better son next year. Your apartment has a couch you found on the curb and carried up 3 flights with a guy named Sam. That's the whole world right there. You, Sam, 2 other people whose names you'll struggle to remember by 35, a curbside couch, and a certainty so total you don't even hold on to it. Because why would you? It's not going anywhere. You stay up till 4 on a Tuesday playing video games and it costs you nothing. You're going to do everything. You can feel the whole list of things to do there, in the dark, every item still available, and you are so sure you'll get to all of it that getting to it doesn't feel urgent. It feels inevitable. One night around then, you're in a diner at 2 in the morning, the kind with laminated menus and a coffee pot that's been on the burner too long, and the idea comes. The business. It lands fully formed, the way the good ones do, and you get excited. You grab a napkin and a spiral notebook from your bag, and you write it down on page 1 so you won't lose it. You read it back twice. You're going to build this. Not now. You don't have the money, the time, whatever it is you tell yourself you don't have. But soon. Next year, when you're a little more sorted. You close the notebook. Page 2 stays blank. You don't really care about that. You met her that same year at a friend's party, and you like the way the room sharpens when she walks into it. You don't do anything about it. There's no rush. You're 20. The moment will come around again, the way good things do, and when it does, you'll be readier, smoother, more like the person you want to be. Next year, maybe. That's the first time you've said the words. And here's what makes it so dangerous. At 20, the words are telling the truth. You really do have time. It keeps its promise the first time, so you believe it every time after. You're 24, you got a job, a real one, with a badge and a desk on the 3rd floor and a chair that's already a little broken. You spend your days moving numbers from one box to another, refilling your coffee before it's empty, sitting through meetings that could have been emails and looking up at the clock, surprised it's already lunch. By the 2nd month, you can feel this isn't your thing, but it's a good job. And you're supposed to be grateful, and you are, so you push the feeling down where you push everything. The notebook is in a drawer now, under a charger cable and a stack of mail. You'll get to it when things slow down. Things never slow down. Nobody tells you that at 24. The last good night with your friend group happens around here, and nobody knows it's the last one. Sam's leaving for a job in another city, so there's a goodbye party at a bar, and it's loud and easy, and it feels like all the other nights. Then Sam moves. Then someone else gets serious with someone and folds quietly into a different life. The group chat that used to go till morning slows to a day between messages, then mostly links. Nobody decided this. You'll all get together soon. You keep meaning to put it on the calendar. Next year, you'll be better about keeping in touch with people. And there's a night with her, around 25, that you remember later more clearly than almost anything. You're driving her home. It's late, the heater's going, the streetlights are doing the thing streetlights do through a windshield, and the whole moment is just sitting there, open, and you can feel the real sentence right at the back of your teeth. And you say something safe instead, something that keeps a door from closing without walking through it. You tell yourself there'll be a cleaner moment, a less terrifying one, once you've got your life a little more together. You drop her off, you watch her go in. Next year, you think, you'll tell her properly next year. Your first raise comes, and you move into a 1-bedroom that's a little nicer, and the raise disappears into the nicer place so completely you never even see it. And you tell yourself, this is what progress looks like. And in a narrow, technical way, it is, you're not failing. That's a trap. You're doing everything right, just on the list somebody handed you, while the list you wrote yourself sits in a drawer under a charger cable. You're 28 at your first wedding, sitting at table 9, watching someone you swore you'd be close to forever marry someone you've met 3 times. You're happy for them. And you're also doing a quiet math under the toast, the kind you don't say out loud. They built something. I should build mine. The feeling is real, and it lasts about as long as the drive home. By Monday, it's back under the surface where it always seems to go. Sam's at that wedding too. And Sam, at some point years back, took one thing off his list and started it badly. He started running. The first month was humiliating, and he did it anyway. You'd been identical at 20, same curb couch, same endless list. But the running turned into a fit body, and the body into energy, and the energy made his own page 2 idea feel possible. And now he's telling a table about the thing he's building, and it's small and unglamorous and real, and you nod and feel something you don't look at directly. You hear about her at that wedding too. Secondhand. She's seeing someone. It lands heavier than you expected, and you tell yourself it's fine. The timing was never right anyway. These things come back around. There'll be another window. The door's still open. You're sure of it. A few months later, your dad climbs the stairs at his place. The same stairs he's gone up and down countless times. The same man who carried your couch up 3 flights. And there's a pause at the top that wasn't there before. Just a breath. Just a second of him being a person with an older body. You notice it. You look away from it. The way you look away from anything you're not ready to do the math on. Then it's New Year's and you've turned 29 and you do the thing almost everyone does. You draw a line at 30 and you call it the real starting age. 30 is when you get serious. 30 is when the version of you who does all of it finally shows up. You can see him from here. You just have to get to next year. Then you're 30 and 32 and 34, and this is the stretch nobody warns you about because there's nothing in it to point at. It's the same job with a slightly better title, the same kind of apartment. The raises come, and the life rises to meet them dollar for dollar, so the gap between what you earn and what you keep never moves. There's a guy at work, Marcus, who pulls a new truck into the lot one Monday morning, still has the sticker in the window and talks about it for a week, and for a second, you feel behind, like he's moving and you're not. He isn't really, but he looks like he is, and so does everyone on social media. The houses, the launches, the trips, the people living the list you wrote at 20 while you were being responsible. You don't say any of this out loud. There's no version of I keep meaning to start that survives a dinner table conversation. So when someone asks, you say you're doing fine, keeping busy, and you watch their face drift and you drive home with a loneliness you can't quite name. The specific kind that comes from standing still while the scenery of everyone else slides past. And every December, the same words. Next year, it feels exactly as harmless at 33 as it did at 20. You never feel it take anything from you. That's the part you'd understand too late. Every year you say it, it reaches into the list, lifts one thing out and walks off, and it never makes a sound, and you keep staring at a list you think is full. By 36, the signals start coming, one quiet line at a time. Your body sends the first one. You take the stairs at work 2 at a time, the way you always have, and somewhere around the 3rd floor, your knee responds in a way it hasn't before, and you get to the top a little winded, and a cold little thought goes through you. This used to be free. You can still get the body back. It's not gone. But the price went up while you weren't looking, and, standing there with your hand on the rail, that it's only going to get steeper. The money sends one. You're at the kitchen table on a weeknight, and for the first time in years, you actually run it. The real numbers, not the ones you do in the shower, and you see what investing a little every month since 20 would have become on its own, growing while you slept, and the number just sits there in your chest. Because you understand, finally, that you can't buy those years back. They only counted once, and they had to be spent up front, and you spent them on the words. The friends send one. You open the old group chat to drop something in, and there are inside jokes you don't understand. Names you don't recognize. A whole history that kept getting written while you've been meaning to call, meaning to catch up. And your dad's voice on the phone is thinner now, slower. You hear it, and you mean to call him back that weekend. And then it's 3 weeks, and you catch the words going through your head, and you don't even hear them anymore. Next year. I'll 100% be better about it next year. And then, at 39, on a Tuesday with nothing special about it, the words just stop working. You can't say why. Nothing happened. You just wake up, and the relief that always came with next year doesn't come. So you finally decide you're going to start. All of it, whatever's left. You go to the first thing, her. You look her up, just to find the nerve, just to see if she's still around. She's married. Years ago. There are photos of a whole life you were never in. A wedding, a kid, a porch in a town you've never seen. But that's not the part that takes the air out of your chest. The part that stays is that nobody told you. There was a wedding, a whole day, people you used to know in a room together, and not one of them thought to mention it to you. Not out of cruelty. There was just no reason to. You weren't close enough to anyone anymore to be in the loop. You drifted so far from the people who would have known that the news never had a path back to you. It didn't get lost on the way. There just wasn't a way. So it isn't only that you lost her, it's that you found out alone, years later, from a stranger's public photos, and the finding out told you something worse than anything about her. It told you how far outside the circle you'd quietly drifted while you weren't looking. You weren't rejected. You simply never showed up. Not for her, not for any of them. And the world did what it always does when you stop showing up. It closed the gap you left, went on, and didn't think to ask first. You go to the next thing. The business, the notebook, you still have it. Page 1, the idea, 20 years old. Page 2, still blank. You open a laptop to finally build it, and first you search, just to make sure the lane is still empty. It isn't empty. Someone's in it. 3 years in. And you can't stop reading about him. You find one of his interviews, and he's describing the exact problem you wrote on page 1, the exact one, and then he describes how he solved it, and it's the way you'd imagined it. Almost word for word, like he reached into your drawer and lifted it clean off the page you never turned. And then, on the podcast you're watching, he laughs about it. He says he can't believe how obvious it was, that the whole thing was just sitting there in plain sight. And the only hard part was starting. Once he started, it basically built itself. And that is the moment something inside you goes quiet. Once he started, that's the sentence you hear inside your head. That's the only thing that ever stood between you and his life. He started. You wrote it down and said, next year. And now a stranger is on a microphone being asked how he knew, telling a laughing audience how simple it all was the moment he stopped waiting. Living, in detail, the exact life that was folded up on page 2 of your notebook the entire time. It was your idea. It was a good idea. It was good enough to build a whole life for a stranger while it waited for the year you'd feel ready. You're not looking at a competitor. You're watching someone else wake up inside the version of your life that started. You go to the last thing, the people. The old group still does a Sunday thing. You've seen the photos. You decide you'll just go back. You'll just slot in. Except when you scroll the group chat, there are the inside jokes again, the names you don't know, the years written without you. Nobody cut you off. That's the quiet horror of it. No fight, no falling out. You just became someone they stopped reaching for because you were never there when they reached out, and people stopped reaching for someone who isn't there. You're not uninvited. You're just no longer thought of. And standing there at 39, holding a list where she's gone, the business is gone, and the people are gone, you finally see the thing the whole 20 years was walking you toward. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't the first one. The words didn't take a single thing from you. It had been taking things the entire time, the same quiet way, one closed door at a time, and you only ever went looking once it was already too late. The words were never a waiting room. It was a door, closing, the whole time. But you don't go to bed that night. You sit up, because there's one thing on the list you haven't checked, and you've been avoiding it, because after everything else, you're terrified of what you'll find. Next year, you'll call your dad more. You go to look. And the one mercy in all of it is this. That door is still open. He's still there. Older. His voice on the phone is thinner than it used to be. Slower. Maybe a diagnosis now. Maybe just age. Maybe just the particular quiet of a man who's been waiting longer than he'd ever say for a call that keeps not coming. But he's there. The number still works. That door is still open. Barely. And standing there with 3 closed doors behind you, you finally understand why this one is different from all the rest. And it isn't only that it matters more, though it does. Every other door on the list waited for you. The body waited expensively. The money waited expensively. Even her, even the business, those closed on someone else's schedule, someone else getting married, someone else building the thing. They closed because life moved. This one doesn't wait for life to move. It has a clock you don't get to see, and it's the only door on the whole list where the words don't take something expensive. It takes the entire thing, permanently, with no warning, without a second version of it anywhere, at any price. You watched 3 doors close tonight because you waited, and you're looking at the one that's still open. And the only thing standing between you and walking through it is the same small, stupid discomfort that's been standing there the whole time. Not knowing what to say after hey, and here's the part that's worse than any of it. You think 39 was the lesson. The closed doors. You think you got caught, and because you know now that knowing is enough. It isn't. The blink didn't stop when you noticed it. It's not something you survived. It's the way the whole thing works, and it's still working. Right now, at 40, there's a list. It might be the same list, and there's words sitting next to every item on it, and the words feels exactly as harmless this morning as it did in that diner at 2 a.m. when you were 20 and it told you the truth. So, unless something changes, you already know what's coming. You blink again. The mirror shows you 50, and you go to start the way you always eventually do, and there are new doors that close in the dark while you weren't looking. Another her, another business someone else built, another room you're no longer thought of in, and one more door that doesn't wait for life to move. That's not a guess. You watched it happen across 20 years already. The words will run the same way for the next 20 years. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't run out of things to take. It just waits for you to say it, as harmless as ever, every December. And only one thing has ever interrupted it. Not a new year, not a Monday, not the version of you who finally feels ready. The only thing that's ever stopped the blink is one small, ugly, badly done start, paid for in full today. The call with no script. The page 2 idea finally dragged onto page 3. The thing you've been carrying since the first minute of all this. 40 isn't the end of the story. That's a terrifying part and the only good news, both at once. One door is still open, but the words don't care that you can finally see it. It's already at work on the next 20 years. You were 20, curb couch, broken radiator, the whole list riddled with possibilities. That's where this started. But maybe you're not 20 anymore. Maybe you're 22 with more runway than anyone and you think that makes you safe. It doesn't. It just means the words have more to take. Maybe you're 31, maybe you're 40, maybe you're 57. It doesn't matter. It was never about the number. That's the thing the whole story was hiding. It was never about being 20. It was never about turning 40. The age was just a costume. It was about the words next year. And the words are sitting in your head right now. You can feel it. The thing you've been putting off. The one that came to you in the first minute of this and hasn't left since. And it feels exactly as harmless right now as it did every December that already disappeared. Every door that already closed while you were sure there was time. You've given it years, maybe decades. Don't give it another one. Next year, don't.